It's GG No Re, except this is kind of a GG No Re After Dark, but without a corresponding episode to which this is the After Dark complement. Usually, our After Dark episodes are patron only, but because of weird exigencies in the recording situation last time, we have something different for you this week. And we'll start by saying, what is an After Dark episode? An After Dark episode, in case you don't know, because you're not in the club, the Patreon club, patreon.com/ggNoRe. After Dark episodes are when we finish playing for the night, and then everybody who's still there talks about what just happened, what worked, what didn't, and we summarize what went on in the session. We had, like,
Spoiler, nothing worked. It sucked.
What didn't? What was bad?
Whole game. Your game.
Oh.
It just sucks. Nothing works anymore.
That's not a spoiler. Everybody knows that. They've listened.
Okay, good. We can stop now then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been real. GG.
Bye. GG.
No. So last time.
Wait, yeah, I didn't get to talk.
Oh goodness.
Google.
This is our remote episode as well. Normally we're face to face, so if you hear some people talking over me, you hear my delicious rhapsodic voice being interrupted by some grating awful voice. It's because they can't see me opening my mouth and they know not to talk. You understand, dear listener. So last time we played, we had 8 people, 8 players, and then me. That's Daniel, your DM. It was a ton. We didn't have mics for everybody, and we just wanted to experiment. What would it be like? Imagine, like 7 years ago, before you started a podcast. What was that like? We didn't know. So we played without recording and then decided to just talk about it afterward, but everyone was too tired to talk about it. So
also, recording wouldn't have worked so great because we had, 8 players, 9 players?
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. It would have been crazy.
Logistic nightmare.
Actually thinking about it, that is the first time that I've played that we haven't recorded it outside of, anything not at Tim's house.
So, basically it was useless for you. What was the point of you playing if you're not being recorded, huh?
Ha ha.
Yeah, we're just in here for the secondary benefit, not to play the game, but just to talk about playing the game and to be heard playing the game. So anyway, that's why you're getting this weird episode and why you didn't get an actual play episode. This is in place of both of those. So we're going to start by just saying what happened, and then we're going to record all the events. Actually, something really important happened in the session, like a plot arc finished up.
Truth.
But to preface this, I want you guys, pay attention. You go back right now, stop, listen to all previous 13 episodes of Dungeon Academy, or however many there have been. There's not been any explicit cleric powers. Wizards have done wizardy stuff, fighters have done fighter stuff, but there's been no spells cast by clerics. That's because in my game, clerics don't have spells, and no one really knows how cleric stuff works, except for me. So that just needs to be known. So if you are a cleric in my game so far, you just know you're a fighter that's not as good at being a fighter as a fighter is. So that's some introductory material that you will need to keep in the back of your head. Anyway, so this game started week 5 of the school year on Sunday, and it went through the next Saturday when we went into the dungeon again. How do we say your name? Is it Geraldus or Geraldus? How do we settle on it, Tim?
Geraldus.
And dear listener, do check the show notes page. There will be pictures of, at least most of the characters, maps, that kind of thing. So Geraldus, I'm sorry, did you just say Geraldus or Geraldus?
J.
So
that's soft G.
Gotcha. So Geraldus, which is Tim's character, wanted to get revenge on how... we got to back up more. We have been in the dungeon for 2 sessions or so, and now we're out of the dungeon. We're in school phase. How do you handle a school phase, just a pure role-playing phase, when there are 8 players? That's out of control.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah, so if you mechanically incentivize things, people will do those things. If 8 people are doing those things, it's going to take a long time. So we want to try to minimize mechanical incentives and just get people to do things that they're really interested in for the things themselves. We weren't entirely pure on that account, but I think we need to get to that state more. So I'm going to have to probably change a few things just so that you don't have any reason to just grind during the school phase. We don't want to just have you doing things for mechanical bookwork reasons, because why waste time like that?
True.
Regardless, we went around and let everybody have a turn, essentially. So Geraldus, he had a quest. I make everybody pick a quest, and if you don't have one in mind, you roll for it randomly. So this was your second time playing this character, or third time, right, Tim?
Second.
Yeah. So he hadn't really created him himself, didn't have put a lot of thought into it, so he just generated a quest. And it was about getting revenge on someone, and we chose an NPC, Agrippina, and he tried to get revenge on her by showing her up, or bragging in front of everybody to make her jealous. That was it.
Yep.
And it worked. Then, did you play Tacitus, Asa?
Yeah.
Okay. So after Tim's, so that was all just set up. The way we did it is just set up the situation, make a check of some kind, and then say how it plays out. Very basic story gamey kind of stuff. Then Asa's turn was next, and Tacitus had a crush on Agrippina. We reused an NPC. So Agrippina was an NPC that was created last time when we just needed an NPC for Asa to have a crush on, right?
Did I know her name last time?
Yes.
Or was it just Curry Girl?
You probably just remembered it as Curry Girl.
Okay.
But I did have a name. So we generated that character last time just in time so that we had a character for Asa's character to be interested in. And rather than generating a new one for Tim's purposes, we just reused a character that needs to be developed more. It's a good technique to do. So Tacitus decides to go talk to Geraldus, Tim's character, about this great new girl he's met, which is, of course, the same girl that Tim's character has backstory with. So it was just an awkward, funny situation, and that was it, right? I think so.
Yep.
Next, we went to Luna, who's Jim's character, and this is going to be it tonight. I'm thinking either of the players are going to jump in. Jim wanted to, and this is something that I was hoping was going to happen, and it finally did, trying to get information on the dungeon from other NPCs. So he tried to charm one of the other wizard students into giving his character, Luna, information about what that character's group has found in the dungeon. Because if you think about this game like an MMO, like World of Warcraft, each party is in their own instance of the dungeon. So even though one team may be in the same place as yours, you probably have explored different areas, so you can trade information back and forth. So she did succeed in manipulating this character named Quintus into giving her information about the cedar forest, which is immediately to the right as you go into the wilderness area of the dungeon. And they had not explored that yet. They knew there was a giant tree beset by giant cockroaches, and they died to them a couple times. Then it was Menelaus' turn, Stefano's turn, and I don't have any idea what he did. Do you guys remember?
I don't.
Okay. Then it was Stacy's turn. He was back with us. Octavius with his character. This is funny. When he was doing this, I thought it was just naked power gaming. Like he was just trying to get mechanical bonuses, which is another reason.
He wouldn't know about that.
Well, I mean, he was in a way, but in another way, he talked to me later, like in real life, and was explaining, not like rationalizing himself for this, but explaining what he was wanting his character to do, just in an excited way. And I could see where this fit in. Like he decided, without telling me, that's the thing. The OG story games ethos was to have public information about your character. Stop hiding things. Stop being the guy like Strider in the corner and you never tell anybody what your character's all about, right? Because your characters wouldn't know. That early story games ethos is to tell all the players what you're about, even if your characters don't know. So to separate player and character information and have that be okay. And this would have made a lot more sense if he had done it. I wouldn't have been slightly annoyed at Stacy for this scene. So he said that he wanted his character to have a meeting with the warden or the leader of his college, the Saints College, the Cleric College, to ask how he could improve and get better. And so I didn't really know I just responded how I thought the character would respond. So he did that with the warden. The warden told Octavius, Stacy's character, to go to the dean, who's like the cleric in charge of your dorm, and talk with her about it. And it's basically, and they just told his character Octavius to go to class and ask his friends for help if he needs help with stuff that's not in the class. I mean, that's what you would get told, right?
You could see the disappointment on Stacy's face while you were telling him that.
I know it. But I found out that Stacy had a goal for his character that he had assigned, which was happy. That's what he's supposed to do, which was to be the Naruto of Dungeon Academy, like be the best cleric there ever was, right?
Oh.
And that is totally on brand with the campaign, but I think we just need to know that, and then we can have that expectation set. And furthermore, I can ask him to bring that into the established fiction where we have a scene where we see that that's what he's actually about. Mm-hmm. We're not wondering why he's going and talking with these people. Normally we're cynical, we're jaded, we're old men, we're grizzled, we're having PTSD flashbacks, and we're just thinking people are power gaming, right? And nothing can be genuine. We can find no joy in it. If someone's asking something in character, it's to get an out of character benefit. But no, that's not what's going on. So that'll be fun for next time. I don't remember what John's character, Pluto, was doing, and he's not here. So tough.
That means he wasn't doing anything interesting.
That's right. Ben's character, Ben's one of our new players. I think this is his second time. Ben's character, Adolphus, I don't remember what he was doing. I think he maybe went to the library to study something.
Yes. Yeah.
And he got some bit of information. It didn't seem important enough that it stuck
I remember
in my
he
memory.
didn't get a good roll, so I don't think he really found out what he was going for.
Yeah, I think I gave him some like generic information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still something more than he knew as a player, so it could be useful, but not world-shattering. Then it was Mason's turn. It was the last turn. He has a character named Luciana, and I had previously randomly determined when the plot event that I had planned was going to happen, on whose turn it was going to happen, whose turn it was going to interrupt, and it happened to land on Mason's turn already, so I knew this before any of this happened. And so when he described what he wanted to do, he was just going to get a progress roll for his archery skill, and that was it. So I interrupted his turn where he was just going to make a standard mechanical turn, not a big deal. And I had Phoebe, who is an NPC that they had met before. She's in the College of Wizards, or College of Stars, wizard lady. She's blind and had a seeing eye dog named Albus, big white dog, who had gone missing. And this plot encounter thing had been brought up several times before. And so she was up putting lost dog posters and asked for Luciana's help. Luciana did indeed help her, and they struck up a little friendship, and that was the end of the scene. Now, if this had just been a purely random encounter, that would have probably been it, but this was an encounter that was part of a bigger plot thread. And the plots that I'm using, I'm calling them plot, but if you've read, dear listener, if you've read Apocalypse World or Dungeon World, they're more like fronts, or yeah, I guess that would be it, fronts, where you have something bad that's going to happen, and there's an escalation leading up to the ultimate bad thing that happens in steps. So step 1 happens, and then some time passes in the game. Step 2 happens up until the very end thing. And during this time, the players can intervene. Anything can happen during that time. It's not set in stone yet, but there is an established trajectory, and when things happen in the game, they actually mean something and are leading up to something greater. So it's a nice way to balance what you would traditionally understand as like a pre-written scenario or plot with player agency, because you're not having your choices as a player invalidated. You're not just going to be like railroaded. It's just things are happening in the background, and they typically need to involve the players or threaten them or their interests in some way. So behind the scenes here, there is I don't want to reveal too much because there's still more stuff going on, but you guys found out that there is a cultist that has been killing people in the school. Like after the first time you got out of the dungeon, there was a student that was impaled on a statue, and there's been at least a couple other attempted murders since then with weird mechanisms behind them. And always like the area around the body or the attempted body is wet, and there's a trail of water, that kind of thing. So what happened this time is that this magically enhanced cultist guy sent out, he had taken her dog previously, that's why it's gone missing, and transformed it through some mechanism that I understand into being on his side and giving it some measure of his powers, which are water-based. So he basically made a killer water chain, like shape-shifting dog that was under his command, at least partially, to help him create chaos in the school. So, and he had a den in the sewers, which they had partially explored before. So what happened next is that Luciana was woken up by Phoebe, the girl whose dog this is, Albus, and said that Albus, her dog, she expected, or she surmised, she deduced, had come up to her and was going to attack her, but then smelled her and realized it was the dog realized it was her, and then didn't attack her, and then melted away like into water and left. And she knew that the dog had gone. She followed the trail of the water back to the grate inside the courtyard of the dorm where the guys are staying. So Phoebe, the NPC, relays this information to Luciana, which is Mason's character, and so now the players have to decide what to do. Of course, because this is D&D, everybody wakes up, we get the party together, we cast message to wake people up without the, instructor seeing and this kind of thing, and we make a big plan to go steal some weapons because your weapons from the dungeon don't transfer over to the real world. So if you're going to go fight in the real world where you can actually die, you have to get weapons from somewhere. So I think it was Stefano's character Menelaus is a thief or a rogue or whatever.
Yep.
So he teamed up with an NPC thief to go steal some weapons from the caches that the College of Shades, the thief college, keeps for this exact purpose. It's like I don't know. I have a vague recollection that there's some lore about Spartans where they'd want you to try to steal, but if you got caught, you'd be punished. But if you succeeded, you'd be applauded, right? It's like something bad to do, but if you do it, it's awesome. So that's what the rogue college tries to do. So they do end up passing their stealth checks and so forth to steal a couple shields and a couple swords or spears, something like that. And then you guys are all outfitted with knives as well, like daggers. And so with this stuff in, you guys go into the sewer and check out what's going on. And please interrupt me if I'm missing anything.
I wasn't there.
You were not there. Yeah. Ace's character was the only one who didn't go.
I had just gotten out of, the claw?
Yeah, the hospital thing. Yep.
Yeah. So I noped out of that one because I had just gotten healthy.
Yeah. So other than your character, I think everybody else went. And we went down, explored where before they had gone down the sewer system and turned to the left and found a locked door that they believe had a dog behind it. Now they understand what that means. So there is this, although they didn't understand like the full depth of what the dog had been transformed into, they saw that there was a dog there or under the door. They heard, they smelled, they figured out that there was indeed a dog behind there and another figure. And there's candlelight that they can see under the door. So they can't get in and they don't really want to make a big to-do here. So they turn and explore this other door down another branch of the sewer system. This thing is a big ornate door with an inscription on it that they try to figure out. They can't figure it out. They figure it's something they'll have to research in the library. And as they are turning back to go up to get out of the sewer, just figured we can't do anything here right now. They feel something coming toward them in the sewer water, like a presence. And Luciana, which is Mason's character, who had met Phoebe and helped her put up the missing dog signs earlier, calls out to the dog, calls it by name Albus. And then that dog materializes out of the water of the sewer and goes to bite her again, but then smells her and stops. Because, and I had to think about this, I wasn't planning any of this, which is really fun. Because if the dog had stopped and not bitten its owner, then I thought it might be the case that if it smells its owner on Mason's character, maybe it wouldn't bite her. And so I wasn't sure if that would happen or not. So I rolled a die to see if it would turn out well or badly. And thankfully for you guys, it turned out well. And the dog Albus did recognize the scent of her owner on Luciana. And so we had a friendly water dog, at least partially friendly.
Good.
While we were dissecting this information, or digesting it, the door opened that you had originally checked behind, and the voice of Antonius, who's a wizard's teacher, called out and said, "Oh, guys, you passed the test. Come in here so I can give you your rewards." Which is obviously just a trap. Like, everybody knows it's a trap, right? But the reason I had him do this is that he was going to have to kill all of you anyway, because he had previously had an interaction with you guys down here. So he knows for sure now that you guys know that something is up with him or with this area. And if he lets you guys get back up out of the sewers, y'all are going to tell people, it's going to get out, and he's going to get found out, right?
Yep.
So, because he's living like a double life in the academy right now with his secret hideout and his normal teaching duties. So he decides to try to kill you quietly by having you come in the room. As you guys are coming in, Luciana messages, so silently contacts John's character, Pluto, who's in the back, that he should run back. And because there's so many students they hoped that Antonius, who is the teacher and the traitor, would not notice. I rolled a die again, and he didn't notice. You guys were very lucky tonight, and also pretty thoughtful, and you did a good job.
Well, supposed traitor. We didn't know if he may have been right.
That's true. You don't really know what he's trying to do either. You just know he's killing people or having a dog kill people. So, that is,
And
he
follows
is just a bad guy.
worships a presumably evil god.
Yeah, so that came into play. So once you guys were locked in, he expressed regret that he had to kill you all, and then begins drowning your character, right, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I tried, like, he was talking and it was obvious, and I just tried to bum rush him, see if we could surprise him, get the numbers on him.
Oh,
But,
that's right. You tried to slash him.
he just water formed, and my sword goes through him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, haha, nope, T1000. So he like starts to, get his water hand down my throat.
I was very worried that this was going to be a TPK because this guy is extremely powerful.
Well,
I felt it.
part of the party was asleep.
What do you mean?
I wasn't there.
Oh.
It's true.
If you'd have been there, it'd have been fine, right?
Are the
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. If I had been there, I would have been the first one to die.
probably.
I loved the talks of the mechanics of Greece that went on for like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, there was
important.
some talk about like setting a table on fire, and
It was very important.
yeah.
Well, he had his desk and his altar.
Yeah, that's right. He has a desk. Yeah, so there was a curtain in the back of the room you couldn't see behind, and you could see in the area of the room that you could see there was a table, like a study, a desk, and so forth. But behind the curtain was an altar to some god, right? And there was particular iconography there that Luciana passed a history check on, and she knew that this was associated. It's like a triple moon icon, and she knew it was associated with the god Akaru. And she also knew, because she rolled really well, that this god is frequently depicted as being pierced through the throat with a dagger. So at this point, you guys have some clues about things that may be relevant symbolically, historically, mythically. Who knows?
Maybe.
So anyway, you're getting killed, Tim. And now while he's killing you, he's advancing on some other students. He goes toward Luciana, who has Albus the dog in front of her. And as he threatens Luciana, the dog goes and attacks Antonius, the baddie. And this makes him materialize, because they can both go like water form and then come out of water form. So while
Yeah, that
they're
was
doing
really
this,
cool.
while they're doing this, some characters, I don't remember who, managed to stab him, but he's not dead yet. And he water forms off and tries to get away. And as he's leaving to go just kill the rest of you guys and maybe make an escape, who knows? As he's heading for the door, he water forms away, right? So you can't get him. And Octavius, who is the only cleric in the room, I didn't know if there was a cleric in the room. If there wasn't, you guys probably would have got TPK'd. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
But maybe not. Like maybe the dog could have held him in regular human form long enough that you guys could have killed him. I don't know. But those are pretty much your only two options. So he got Stacy's character, Octavius, the cleric, got a vision, or he heard something talk to him. Sorry, if you hear something in the background, that's my dogs. It said, "Throw your dagger." And Stacy's character, Octavius, couldn't see where the thing was necessarily, but he just threw it where he thought the thing was. And I made the roll, and yep, he got it. So when Antonius materialized again, the dagger hit him right in the throat, which matched the lore that Luciana had just recalled in her history check. To make all that happen behind the scenes, there was, well, one, the cleric had to be there, and two, there was some roll I made. I want to keep this secret to some degree to see whether or not this information and opportunity would be presented at all to any of the clerics that were there. So there was some luck involved in that as well. But after that did indeed kill him. And so once he was dead, I think we quickly did like a quick montage just of what would happen next, with faculty coming down. Like John's character, Pluto, was returning with a bunch of students and faculty to give backup. And there was a convocation the next day to explain what happened and what's been going on. Although they didn't want to give too much information away, and they didn't want your characters that had been involved to be named. But I think the implication from you guys was that y'all are going to like bask in this glory as much as is possible and be
Probably.
enjoy your newfound popularity as the kids who saved the school. And afterward, we thought about ending it there, but then we went back into the dungeon again. We saw some mechanics that hadn't been seen yet. Like there's a gardener, like a gardener spider guy, and he has a 3x3 grid of garden plots. And he told you before that you can plant stuff there and see what comes of it. And this time was the first time we ever harvested anything. So you had found I'm calling it a numinous narcissus flower previously. So it was like a normal flower, but glowing or special in some way. So when you planted that thing, it grew this time into a magic item, which I will post for our patrons, patreon.com/yujinori, so you can see what it does. But it's a cool little magic item that forces people, if they look in it, to be captivated by their own reflection. And pretty cool magic item that's a consumable, so it's not like overpowering. But if you find more things like this, like flowers of such sort, you can bring them back and harvest magic items out of them, which I find to be really fun. A lot of times they're on like wilderness encounter checks. You get a bunch of like nonsense or just like not useful flora and fauna information. So having your sages or important magical NPCs be able to create something interesting out of what you find in the wilderness, I think that's pretty cool. So they did that. Then they also went to explore the cedar forest, which they had gotten information on thanks to Luna from that other wizard student. And they wanted to get some cedar bark. Oh, that's what it was. Ben's character, Adolphus, looked up what you could make with cedar bark. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot about the whole argument about how to get oil from a cedar tree.
Yeah, so we wanted to get cedar oil.
Very important.
To fend off the cockroaches that are on the big tree, which we assume has a dryad associated with it, which we assume has a heart associated with it, which we assume has a magic item associated with it, right? So we've got a big chain of things we want to do. So yeah, we did have like a 10-minute long discussion about how to get oil out of a cedar tree. And none of us, of course, know anything about this. But
Except for Mason.
Well, he was pretty confident.
Well, Mason was confident about one particular method, but there were actually many methods that would work.
Yeah.
We found out later. So anyway, they took the cedar bark back to town. They had an encounter with a snake ball, like a rolling ball of snakes. And I think your character killed it, right, Tim?
Yeah, I think I slashed at it.
You or John did. Somebody did. Maybe John with his big magic sword did.
No, yeah, you're right.
No, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, you killed it.
We were like, what? How much damage? He's like, I got the big magic
Because
sword.
I was back for this, right? Because this was the following day.
Yes.
No,
yeah,
this was the
we were-
following
well-
week.
Week, right.
Yeah.
But we were in the dungeon. We weren't in IRL.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were in the dungeon this time, the underground dungeon, beneath the academy dungeon.
Right.
And so after we got the oil and we salvaged some snake parts, we went back to the Lost Estate, which is like our hub, like our Firelink shrine, and that's where we left it. So I don't think we missed anything. It seemed like a lot of things happened, but I think it's just because there were a lot of people and then a lot of important events within the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyway. So that first story arc that started when you guys came out of the dungeon for the first time following orientation is now over. I've got other story arcs in the hopper, but I was pretty happy with how that turned out. And
it was a productive night, I thought.
Yeah, it was fun.
We are planning to keep playing Dungeon Academy, I do believe, just because we're tired of skipping from one campaign to another.
Yeah.
So we'll do this.
And Dungeon Academy is getting better.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think I'm simplifying it to some degree, and you guys are getting used to it. And eventually, we're going to get in the actual dungeon that it's named after. Pretty soon.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll stop as soon as we get
Yeah,
in.
probably we'll like step 1 foot into the dungeon and then call the campaign. It's over now.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
going into the end of a Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what? It's the end?
So we will
Oh my God,
probably
it's full of stars.
keep playing this. I imagine we will resume recording our actual plays, but if we continue to have a lot of players, we,
Yeah, we'll have to
we
figure
may
something
have
out
to
there.
adjust. We're going to have to figure things out, like also
Yeah.
off-air IRL, because we've got space for like 5 players max. And
That's what we get for being nice and inviting people.
we're just, we're too friendly, we're too welcoming, we're too attractive, frankly.
Mm.
Truth.
It's just really hard being the GG
Hard.
crew. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my picture on the Discord server is black and white.
Yeah.
If that
too
was in
much-
color, it would just melt your CPU.
Yeah, I know it. So we'll figure it out. We're gonna possibly do a couple like one shots of other things in the meantime, just like normal. Maybe Ace will run
I'm
something.
planning Dermis. Yeah. I've been working on it, so we'll see.
And I've got some. Maybe we'll do another CCQ episode or another like that 4E. Oh, we need to do like our 10 years anniversary of 4E session.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Who knows? The world is a horizon of infinite possibilities, and we're just looking out on it. You know what I'm saying? So there will not be a separate After Dark, dear patrons, because this is it.
So it's
And
just dark.
we are planning on playing this week, so we should have episodes for you the following Tuesday, if all goes to
Yeah.
plan. And it should. And as always, follow us on Twitter, GG No Recast on Twitter. I posted a meme on Twitter. I never do anything with our Twitter account besides just post links to our episodes. But who knows? Maybe I will do more than the bare minimum. But don't count on it. Don't count on it,
Yeah.
dear listener.
It seems like work. We're
It-
trying to make everything as efficient and less like work as possible.
Yeah, the podcast is like a byproduct of life. You see?
Mm-hmm.
You see? But
That
I
we
will
do.
be posting some magic items and stuff, and probably some secret, super secret, top secret, no players allowed information on the Patreon feed from
Oh
the
my.
actual dungeon,
Okay, I won't
including
read it.
some special rooms that you can just drag and drop into whatever dungeon you want. They are themed according to my dungeon, but it shouldn't matter. You should be able to use them, and they're fun. They're fun, and people will think you're cool if you use them. I will think you're cool.
Wow.
Your mom will think you're cool if you use them.
Oh, that's all I ever needed.
Yep. Any other comments?
Nah, I'm good.
I'm
It
fine.
was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you guys for not making me talk at myself for 30 minutes or whatever. I'm sure the listener does appreciate that as well. It has been GG No Re. We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.